All right, so recently, Amazon there was an Amazon warehouse in New York that recently voted to be a union, and this is very good news because Amazon is one of the largest, if not the largest, business in the United States. I don't know for sure. It might be Walmart. I don't know, but regardless, it's a very large company, and they have been very anti-pro union, or very anti-union, I should say. And they've spent, about I think it was $4,200,000 on anti-union ads and whatever, basically to fight unionization within their own company. So the fact that the union was able to get set up and actually won and all that is really good. Um, Now, interestingly, we have someone, Krystal Ball, who was part of Breaking Points, who recently called out AOC for her lack of attendance at the union drive. Now, I'm going to show you some tweets here, and we're gonna read them and dissect them, and yeah. So let me just pull it up. Okay. All right. Cool. 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 All right. So all right, so AOC tweeted this. She was giving the flexing sign, which obviously is a indication she's showing support to the Amazon labor union, which won, like I mentioned. And then Krystal tweeted this, and this is where, unfortunately, the discourse starts. So she says that here's the guy who organized the union drive talking about how you left them high and dry. These are your constituents, and you couldn't be bothered to show up until they were on the cusp of victory. Now, what is she saying here? What is she plainly saying here? Well, she's plainly saying that AOC is only coming in here at the tail end of their voting to signal support to score some cheap political points. So she's seeing this more as a political convenience. She, like Krystal Ball's perspective, from what my understanding, is that AOC is only signifying support here for the purpose of scoring political points. AOC responds saying, the warehouse isn't in my district, and maybe you should look at a map before claiming so. One scheduling conflict aside, we have requested oversight investigations into Amazon, met with Amazon workers in the Woodside warehouses, and more. Hope you do more due diligence next time. And then Jordan responds saying, I was told by workers that your folks told them at last minute it was a security issue, not a scheduling conflict. Whether you're a district or not, you would think an NY congressman could have tweeted support, particularly in final weeks, for one of the most important union drives in the U.S. Security was an issue as well. This is AOC speaking. 2021 included a lot of high-level threats on my life, which limited what activities I was able to do, especially those outside. The combination of that, plus when we are able to get resource/time to secure them, creates scheduling plus logistical conflicts. And then, Socialist MMA with the dog shit fucking stupid ass random post here. So there's that. Now I need to find the thread where right. I think she responds here too. No, I don't see AOC. But interestingly, she said, this is what Jordan replying to that tweet. He says that, with respect, there's no security concerns with sending out support to Amazon labor trying to win the first unionized Amazon to 13 million followers. Your voice and organizing power makes a difference. This is a fine tweet. I feel like some people may take issue with it. but I think that this is okay. It doesn't come to me. It doesn't come across as very harsh, I guess. I think that this is a totally reasonable thing to reply with. But Krystal Ball, on the other hand, just simply states that there was no security concerns on the Met Gala. And I don't know if I thought AOC replied to this, or maybe she didn't. I don't know. But anyway, if we go back to the main thread, because they did talk for some times. Yeah, okay. And then Dan Price, who I've had very suspicious, who I find suspicious, I guess, replied, "I love and admire Krystal greatly, but I have scheduling conflicts constantly." He kind of basically is supporting AOC's reasoning. And then she says that not one member of the squad showed up. They all goes to Chris, and this wasn't just another event. It was the most substantial worker-led organizing effort at one of the most powerful companies in the world. They all had excuses for all many months on this ongoing drive. This is a really dumb tweet for the reason Ilhan Omar explains, which is like none of them were. You want all of them to show up in New York, even though they have their own constituents in other states. I mean, it's an unreasonable ask, and it just seems like something a conservative grifter would say to try to make lefties more disaffected with the most progressive members in Congress right now. Ilhan Omar says that I was never asked to show up. Please don't speak to whether I would have shown up or not. I rallied with Amazon workers in Minnesota. As a union person, I have dropped everything anytime my union siblings needed me to show up and always will. Yeah, I mean, that's totally reasonable. Yeah, so anyway, this whole thing is pretty interesting. Basically, Krystal Ball is upset. In fact, let me play the clip. This is them reacting. Her and Krystal and Kyle Kulinski are talking here in the car, vlogging live, and they're upset. We're going to watch it, and that's that. Let's see what they have to say about this, not being spoken through on Twitter.
I have to say something in response, because it's disingenuous. That's the problem. It's disingenuous. So you responded and walk everybody through what you said and what happened.
Yeah, I just wanted there to be a record under her little, happy tweet about yay, go Amazon Labor Union. I just wanted there to be a record of where you actually were when it counted, which was nowhere. So I responded with, a link to the interview that Kyle and I did with Christian, where he explained everything that happened. And I said, when it really counted, you left them high and dry, and couldn't be bothered to say anything until they were on the cusp of victory. And by the way, these are your constituents.
Now she tried to get you on some snippy shit with that. Like, actually, this isn't in my district.
which is really obnoxious, because I didn't say the warehouse is in her district. I know it's not in her district, but I also knew that Christian, part of why he was, legitimately upset about it is because he knows these workers who live in her district who were excited about AOC coming to their rally, and then she lets them down. So for her to pretend like she didn't even represent anyone that worked there was just, really extremely disingenuous. So her reply was, maybe you should look at I'm paraphrasing, but she's like, maybe you should look at a map. This warehouse isn't even my district, and you need to do your due diligence before you reply next time.
Right. This wasn't, you didn't say anything publicly yet at the time, but the second you saw that, you fucking snapped. You're like, she's trying to cover up the fact that she wasn't there when it counted, okay?
And now, she knows that, which is why she had such a snippy response. Because
okay, dude, who the fuck cares? Like, for real, who the fuck cares if she didn't show up? Like seriously, why does that matter? You guys know, at least I hope you do, that AOC supports unions and the Amazon union members. Like, that's not something that's within question, but they're framing this as though oh wait, maybe she's only doing this for political reasons. Like she doesn't actually give a shit about the people. Blah blah blah. And it's like maybe to some extent that's true. But why does she need to prove herself to you guys in terms of her, her support for for unions as a whole? Like, why does she need to do that? She has constantly in the past has supported unions through rhetoric and other means. I feel like this, if anything, is really bad faith and disingenuous on their part, Kyle and Krystal's, who are ostensibly on the left. So it just boggles my mind why these people hold AOC especially, but the squad in general, to these fucking stupid ass purity standards of like, oh my god, you didn't like go to the union drive. Like, who the fuck cares? She signaled the support when they were on the cusp of victory because like she outlined the reasons herself on Twitter, but like why are they setting these really arbitrary standards for her to meet in order, like it just seems like this is all done, like Krystal and Kyle are reacting in this way. It seems like they're just trying to paint her as any other politician or as like, she's only doing this to score political points or that she's not, or that maybe they think that they're just trying to hold her accountable. It's like, accountable to what though? We all know she's pro-union. Why does she need to prove it by going to the fucking union drive? And she, in the past, has supported, I believe, support for this Amazon union shit.
And that's the main point, is that the reason why she so angrily responded to Krystal is because Krystal touched a nerve, because she's fucking right about it. She's right about it. And again, so if AOC has a problem with any of this, don't take it up with us. Take it up with Christian Smalls, who is the one who said you left him high and dry, okay? So you don't have a problem with Kyle Klinsky. You don't have a problem with Krystal Ball. When you responded with that tweet, you had the interview in the tweet, and everybody could see with their own two eyes what Christian Smalls said, and he's the one who earned this victory. And so, if you have a problem, then take it up with Christian Smalls.
Yeah, but Krystal was the one who used the phrase indicating that it was her own thought as well. I mean, yeah. Also, yeah, again, this is just like really fucking weird that these people hold these, AOC. It's because they don't do this shit for other Democrats, keep in mind. Now, I know that other Democrats are like, fucking cringe and, establishment goons or whatever. But like, it's just weird to me that they are super fixated on, dogging on AOC really hard about something like that. We all know she supports unions. Why does she? I don't know. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. But interestingly, and this was yesterday, Breaking Points, the show that that Krystal and Sagar work on. Oh my god, it's fucking funny. Yeah, so this person basically is saying what I feel like a lot of people are assuming, with the fact that they are using this drama as a means to generate clicks and revenue. Anything to make that sweet nectar. Yeah, obviously they're not, and I have a lot of problems with Breaking Points. I won't get into too much detail about it, but basically, my main grievance with Breaking Points and Krystal and Sagar actually is that they take disaffected leftists. They're roping in disaffected lefties through populist rhetoric as a means of pushing them to the alt-right. That's the main problem I have with Breaking Points. They'll disguise themselves, or they'll disguise this motive through populist rhetoric in order to get them down the alt-right pipeline. So, yeah, there's that. That's my main thing with Breaking Points. But it's just, dude, it's fucking funny though. Yeah, and interestingly, if you look at these are polls that you can do on YouTube, where you take you basically ask people like their opinions. It's just a poll, right? That they do on YouTube, and these are the questions and the answers that they got from their audience. The first one is that, does the Republican Party come off as arrogant and elitist to you? Now, 53% said yes, 38% said no, and 9% said unsure. I feel like this number should be higher, but like whatever. This one's interesting. Does the Democratic Party come off as arrogant and elitist to you? 93% said yes, 4% said no, and 3% said unsure, excuse me. Wild. Because honestly, it's funny because like this show, Breaking Points, they always are like the, oh, here's the left, or here's the more left-leaning person, here's the more right-leaning person. We're just trying to meet in the middle and hash out whatever, and they always are harping on the, establishment equals bad, and Democrats and Republicans are both like, sellouts or whatever. But if that were the case, because that is one of the main messages within the show, if that were the case, then they're doing a terrible job at communicating that to their audience. Because this poll should really be about the same, except it's not. This has a very obvious left-leaning, or a right-leaning bias, excuse me, against Democrats. These polls should be very similar, but they're not. So that's interesting. Another one was Manchin right to tank Biden's Build Back Better legislation? 55% said yes. 33% said no. So that's interesting. I mean, like, reading this, it makes me feel like some of these people are accelerationists, but, like, at the same time, it's more plausible and, in fact, more likely that it's just their audience are just anti-Democrat, which seems to be a common theme we're seeing right now. Are you worried about the new Omicron COVID variant? 11% said yes. That's pretty weird. 76% said no. If I'm being charitable with this one, it could be the fact that it was maybe they're not worried about it because like they already got their booster and they're all like vaxxed or whatever. I don't know, but that's there's not much political bias to extract from this. I don't think, at least. Do you trust the coronavirus guidance and public health information from Dr. Fauci? 10% said yes. 81% said no. I mean, anti-vaxxers, I guess. These people don't want the Fauci ouchie. They're a little scared of it. I don't know. This is pretty fucking crazy. How do you feel about AOC generally? Support, oppose? And by the way, these are a lot of people voting. Like 172,000, 167,000. Support 18%. Support 18%, the most progressive person in Congress. 18%. There's obviously a concentration of right-wing people in this audience. Except Krystal, yeah, I mean, like, this is the audience that she helped cultivate. And, I can't help but believe that, her, like, just silently and non-confrontationally speaking with Sagar on Rising and Breaking Points has led to this concentration. And and this person also hits the nail on the head with something else too. Is the fact that she it's funny to me that she was always like, where's this fascist coup, or whatever that that the lib media was promising us back in 2020 or at the end of 2019, and then it literally happened. So that was fun. So yeah, that's really all I have to say on this particular development. I mean, look, dude. All right, look, ready? All right. The squad is not perfect. I'm not going to claim that they are. However, they are the best available politicians we have right now in Congress. They are the most left-leaning. Therefore, they are the most correct. Going after them and holding them accountable is not an issue. The issue is that the framing here is, first off, with respect to this specific grievance that Krystal has, and Kyle, I guess, it's trivial. It doesn't matter. And the fact that they're publicly going after her as passionately as they are, it comes off to me as though they are more concerned with her meeting their purity standards. And there's nothing wrong with having like standards for a politician, but like when you're a public figure like they are, and you're talking as, you know, aggressively against someone as they are, it comes off a little sussy wussy. That's all I'm saying, you know, because like I don't see Krystal really challenging like other politicians as harshly as she does with the squad. I mean, she made it a point to highlight the squad in her tweet. She said none of them came. So it's just interesting to me, I guess, that this is the hills that she's willing to fight on and die on, I guess. And if you look at the program that she and Sagar are, you know, involved in producing and whatever, you know, there's obviously a right-wing bias in that program. I don't know how much of that audience has influenced her perspective on politics. It's possible it has to some extent, but I think that, you know, it just seems insignificant to focus on this, you know, on AOC not going to the Amazon warehouse shit. It just seems insignificant to me. I mean, she signals support. I mean, like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just disappointing, I guess. And I think at the end of the day, like, people like Krystal make me very suspicious because, like, they are ostensibly on the left, but they will go, except they'll always go after and hold accountable left-wing politicians. In fact, more often left-wing politicians than other people. I mean, these are the most progressive people we have in Congress. There are certain things that AOC and the squad have done that I'm sure I take issue with if I were to go back and look exactly. But like, at the end of the day, it just seems like that they're trying to. This is more fundamental than that. Like her grievance with AOC here seems more fundamental. It seems more like she's not a true leftist, and that's an issue. I mean, I guess it depends on your definition of leftist, but like, she's not a true ally to the left. I guess it's more accurate. But that's not true. And the fact that she is making it seem as though that is the case by way of painting her as a sellout or whatever is, you know, to me, it's sussy wussy. That's all I'm gonna say. You know, like, yeah. Anyway, you know, I think this whole shit is just trivial to me. You know, I mean, AOC supports unions, so that isn't what should be in question here. And I mean, there could be some fair criticisms that you can make towards AOC and the squad. Like, I think one that could be a fair criticism is that they are too conciliatory towards the Democrats. I think that could be a fair criticism. But they're always framing their disagreements and grievances as though she isn't like an actual like ally to the left. That's what I take issue with. And unfortunately, that framing can lead people down the alt-right pipeline because it makes it seem like the alternative, the right, is the people who really do support the people and are the true populists. So, you know, that's just, that's unfortunate. But, you know, we'll see how this plays out, I guess, in the coming days. You know, but I can't see it going super well. Yeah, I don't know. There's not much more to say about it. I'm wondering. This is all, by the way, this is all that Krystal is going to be talking about for the next week. We'll see if she talks about the Republicans voting no on lowering the cost of insulin. We'll see if she talks about the weed shit that was voted. Like, we'll see. But yeah, it's going to be telling how much emphasis she places on this versus other stories that are taking place right now in the country, especially the anti-LGBT shit, which is like all over the place. So yeah, I have a feeling she's going to focus on this more than anything. But yeah, so that's all I got to say really about this.